Hey everyone, Scott Sambucci here, and I want to share with you a couple of ideas that have been kind of stewing around in my mind over the last couple of days and weeks. And one of the idea that I want to share with you is a mistake that I see time and time again that early stage startups make over and over and over. And the way I want to explain this is using a little bit of a whiteboard. So I'm going to flip the camera around and use this as a way to illustrate my point here. Um, the mistake that a lot of startups make early on is that they look at their market, right? This is whatever total addressable market or the market industry or segment that you're going after. And they say, well, look, what I got to do is go out and create demand. I got to do demand gen, right? I've got to find people in my market. Let me just draw some arrows here. And within my market, what I got to do, it's actually pretty hard doing this, holding it, is find some customers, right? And so the tendency for most startups is to spend a lot of time on this marketing piece. And they're marketing and they're marketing and they're marketing. And they're spending a lot of time, they're spending a lot of money, they're spending a lot of effort on marketing so that they can go find customers. The problem is that's the exact opposite approach from what you should be doing. Because especially if you are an early stage startup and you don't even have any customers or you have very, very few customers, what we want to do instead of worrying about marketing and working into sales, you want to reverse that. You want to think about doing your selling first and then working out to marketing. And let me explain that in a little bit more detail. So we've got our marketplace here, this big circle. And what we want to do is figure out, we got to get those first couple of customers, right? We want to get some dollars in the door. And the reason that's really important first, before we worry about marketing, right? And those first couple of customers, look, if you can't find 2, 3, 5, 10 customers on your own without a huge marketing campaign, you've got bigger problems than marketing problems. You have a problem, product market fit problem. And so instead of worrying about all of the marketing and shying away from doing the actual selling, instead we've got to sell first so that we understand two big key things. The first thing we need to understand is our customer's motive. What is their problem? Why are they willing to take action? And secondly, what are their metrics? How are they evaluating the success of buying and using your product? Why are they buying? What's the ROI? How are they seeing return on the investment they're making for purchasing that product? So until we have customers, we have really only a hypothesis around what we think the motive and the metrics are. I can't tell you how many times I personally have sold to customers and only after they've bought from me, I've understood their true motivation and their true metrics. There's no way I would have known how to market to those people had I tried to do the marketing first instead of the selling first. And so once we understand the motive and the metrics, that will drive the second piece here, which is the message. And this is the mistake that a lot of marketing makes. If we don't know the motive and we don't know the metrics, how can you possibly know how to market to the people that you want to sell to? You don't know what message to send out there. You don't know what they're going to respond to. Everything else is just based on what you think the problem is. Until you're actually solving the problem with paying customers, you are only guessing at what you think the message is. And so once you begin with selling and you understand motive and metrics, then you can understand what the message should be. And then the third piece here is, now that you've got a lockdown message, the third piece here is then going out to the market and reaching these people. And each of those arrows, you can think of that as the method by which you're going to reach those people. And that method could be a number of things. It could be, say, for example, maybe it's LinkedIn is the method by which you're going to be contacting your target market. Maybe it's events, conferences, live events, trade shows. Maybe it is webinars. Maybe in your market, the people that you need to talk to that are motivated, that are the drivers of the decision, maybe they use webinars as a way to get their market information, as a way to learn about new products, as a way to learn about solutions that are out there for the problems that they have. It could be email campaigns. It could be cold calling. And so again, the challenge or the mistake that a lot of startups make is that they start with the marketing piece and they say, oh, well, I'm going to hire some SDR and do a bunch of cold calling, or I'm going to scrape a bunch of email addresses and send out an email campaign, or I'm just going to go to a bunch of live events and set up a booth, and then the people that come in, I'm going to market to them after, or I'm going to spend a lot of money on LinkedIn ads, or I'm going to do some blogging. There's another one that I see. And so they spend a lot of time doing these different things, but they don't know the method by which they should be reaching their market. Because until you know the message and the method, then a lot of these things might be completely wasteful. Maybe you don't need to do any blogging. Maybe you don't need to do webinars. Maybe cold calling is a waste of time. Maybe email campaigns are a waste of time. And perhaps the best method for you to reach your market is just by doing LinkedIn messages, reaching out to people, working in groups, and doing live events. And so if we don't know these three layers, if we don't know the motive and metrics, if we don't know the message, then it's impossible for us to know how to reach the people in our target market, the method. And so I just want to stress to people, this is something it's probably, basically it's my life's mission here. With all of the work that I do, time and time again, I've seen startups fail not because of a lack of a good product, not because they're not solving a good problem. It's that they're just scared. They're scared to sell. They feel like, well, I'll do demand gen, and then I'll get a bunch of people and I'll talk to them and I'll figure out how to convert them. And that's what I'm trying to explain to you in this video, is that we got to do the opposite. You've got to go find those first couple of customers. If you're the founder, before you can hire a salesperson, before you hire a VP of marketing, before you do all of that stuff, you've got to find your first customers first so that you understand the motivation, so that you understand the metrics on which you will be measured when people buy your product. Once you know the motivation, once you know the metrics, then you've got your message. And once you've got your message dialed in, then you can focus on what method to go and reach your target market. So instead of doing marketing and working your way into sales, as an early stage company, do the selling first, then the marketing will reveal itself as you unpack the motive, the metrics, the message, and the method. So I just wanted to share that. It's something that comes up all the time as I'm working with teams, as I running workshops or meeting entrepreneurs, meeting startup CEOs at different conferences. Everybody's talking about demand gen and growth hacking and marketing, and I've got to do this and I've got to do that, and then I'll be able to sell. It's the opposite. Sell first, market later. All right? So that's it for now. Checking out here, Scott Sambucci.